Hi everyone, welcome back. This is now issue 87 of Build the Back to the Future DeLorean. Okay, so this is going to be a fairly long issue, I believe. There's so many parts in this issue, which we'll go through in a moment. We're going to be doing the rest of the detail on the roof panel, and then I think the roof panel will actually be going into the car. So quite a lot to do. So let's just crack on, get stuck in. Okay, so here we go. These are all the parts we get. As I say, there's a lot of fiddly parts in this issue. So let's just crack this open and get started. Yeah, lots of details. Okay, so let's work through these parts. So 87A, we've got two hinges, which are these black plastic parts here. And then obviously we've got two of those. Okay, we've got two hinge pins. And they are absolutely tiny, and they're in that bag just there. And we also, in that bag, we get a tab. Let me just put my zoom in. There you go. So yeah, you get a tab in there, and then obviously those two hinge pins in that little bag. Okay, we got a wire plus two LEDs, so that is this orange and green cable here, and then there's two LEDs mounted on those cables. Okay, we got another wire, and this has got three LEDs built on, and they've really angled those for us. Okay, we've got sun visors. We've got two sun visors. So obviously one will be the left and one will be the right. Okay, we've got a control panel, which is the larger one, and there's a little bit of detail on there. There we go. And let me see if I can read some of these. Open temp, auxiliary pumps. And I can't read some of the others. There's all sorts of lock, 3 lock buttons, position 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, so some very minute detail there. So that is the larger control panel. We've got the two small control panels. And they are, or seem to be, identical. Yeah, they are the same. Okay, we get a keypad. And there's not as much detail on that. They've coloured the buttons in, but that's all. Okay, and then we've got 5 stickers. And we've also got a lot of screws. We've got some BP screws, NM screws, GP screws, IP screws, and we've also got some VMs. Okay, so let's get started. So obviously for this issue we're going to need the top panel, the roof panel that we've been working on. Okay, so first thing we need to do is push the large control panel into the roof panel assembly from last issue. Okay, so we're going to turn this over. This large panel is going to fit next to this silver box here, and there is 2 screw holes and a locating pin on the end. The locating pin going into this smaller hole at the end there. So that's going to pop in, and then it will look something like that. And then from the other side we're going to secure that in with GP screws. So I'm just going to get 2 out. I'm going to leave them in the bag because I've got quite a few screws. So okay, and then what we're going to do is secure that in with the 2 holes either side of the large hole there. So there and there. So I'm just going to start them off. Just 1 and 2. There we go. And that is that in place. Okay, next we're going to add the 2 smaller control panels into the roof assembly, and they are going to go in these 2 here. Now the first thing I notice is, oh, they are, no, that's fine, they are slightly off centre. I was thinking this top hole was a bit more off centre than the bottom one, but I think they are about the same, but we will try it. Yeah, they are the same, they can go in any hole. So obviously the locating pin on the back of these units will go into the smaller hole on the end there. Okay, and then we're going to fit them in with GP screws as well. And after that I've got 1 GP screw that's left, so I believe that that is going to be the spare screw. So I think I'm right in saying that that will be all the GP screws in this particular issue. I just need to get this back in. Okay, so obviously it's probably best to do these one at a time, but you can hold them in, and they're going to go in with these 2 screw holes here. You've got 1 there and then 1 just over there. So that's 1 in, and then I'm going to need to straighten these up. So try and hold them straight as you screw, because naturally when you tighten the screw they want to just shift slightly. There we go. And I just need to move this one again because it's slightly gone off centre, and I think that's okay. There we go. So then we've got the switches put in there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we need a BP screw, and I've got one in my pot from last time. We're going to put the keypad into place. So you've got a screw hole in the bottom there, and then you've got a locating pin on one of the corners, which is there, and that is going to go just into here where these 3 holes are. So obviously the locating pin is going to go into this bottom bottom left corner. And then we're going to screw that in with this hole just there. You've got 2 holes, you've got this larger one, and then you've got this smaller one next to this hole there. Okay, so it's going to go in that one. And again, that is with a BP screw for that. And then again, hold that tight because it wants to move when you tighten that up. So there we have that in place. Okay, next thing you want to do is push the left sun visor into place. So as you hold it towards you, we're going to be working on this side, just here, and this will be the left hand side, because that will fit into that gap, and then you've got this corner cut out towards the lamp in the middle. Okay, so with that we need to get one of these really small pins, and I'm going to use some tweezers for this. And then it wants us to push it. Let me just put that down so you can get a really good view of this. You've got a hole through that piece there, and then inside there you've got a groove where that pin will sit into. Okay, so we need to try and get the pin through like so. And then the pin sits through there and then into the groove. Get into the groove, then. Right, okay. Right, now we want the one of the brackets, and it's showing a bracket that says L on it, but there is nothing on these, and I think they're identical. So what we're going to do is pop that in. Now you've got 2 recessed holes. That's going to go downwards to fit over those 2 screw holes there. Okay, and that's going to go on like that, and then we're going to secure that in with 2 IP screws. So I'm going to get 4 out because I believe, well, obviously we'll be doing exactly the same on the other side shortly. So that is 1 in. And that's 2. Okay, so my thoughts. A little bit naff, that design, if I'm honest. this flaps around all over the place. It's loose. And I'm actually going to undo this because I think I've used the wrong one. So sorry about that. It's so difficult. Well, it's slightly complicated because they're almost identical. So I'm just going to take all this apart quickly. I'll rectify this now. And I'm going to swap that for the other one. So it's going in the same. But the groove is going to be on the outer edge, facing outwards. And I put this one in. Back to front, so obviously this one's going to be the other side there. Okay, so I'm just going to redo that. Let's see what happens. I don't think it's going to make much difference to the way that that operates, just due to the nature of the way this is fitting. So that's back in, and then I shall screw that back on. With the two IP screws. There we go. So yeah, there we go. That's the same thing. But it's just naff. It's still loose. It wobbles all over the place, but it's just the nature of how it sits. So yeah, that is that one in, and then we're going to do the same with the other side. So again, we're just going to push that through, and then we're going to put the other pin through. So again, I don't know whether anyone's got any suggestions, or I mean, I suppose you could use some sort of electrical tape or something to maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure. Just pop that in. Again, two IP screws. So that's one in. So, well, yeah, that one's even worse, to be honest. Look. So yeah, I'm not actually really that happy with that. But that is, I'm just going to double check that I've done that right. Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. So we've got a couple of wobbly sun visors. That is it. I'm going to have to do something with that. I'm not quite sure what as of yet. I think they should have made these grooves tighter so that there was a bit of friction on there. I mean, the only other thing I can suggest is I glue them down. They're not going to be working, some visors, but I think the best thing to do is perhaps put a spot of glue, or even in the hinges, to keep them up and straight. Then at least it wouldn't look too bad. It's a shame. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what yours are like, if they're the same. Okay, so once those shoddy things have been installed, we're going to be working on the LEDs now. So we want the ones with the 3 LEDs attached. I'm going to turn this round. So the one with the longest cable is going to go into this hole here for the interior light. There we go, that will go in quite tight. The next LED will go into this hole here, just on the left. And then the last LED will go into this hole just here. And I'm not quite sure what that lights. Is that the... Oh, that's for the keypad, I believe. And then we should have a little bit of wiring going on that looks a little bit like that. Okay. Once we've done that, we're going to fix adhesive stickers over these parts. That we get supplied. And it wants one over this light unit here. Like so. And just this LED seems smaller than... Are they all the same? Yeah, they are. The hole for this LED is too big, so it does go in, but it's not a tight fit. It wants us to put some adhesive tape over that LED that's too small for the hole. Like so. And oh, and I've got a broken LED already. The solder's come off. Not much of a good issue, this one. Look, let me just move that. there's a wire here that's come off the LED. So I'm just going to solder that on and then I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I've just soldered that back on. As you can see, I've just soldered that wire back onto that LED, and then I'm going to try and get that with a pair of tweezers, try and get that heat, that shrink wrap stuff round. To protect that again. As far as I can get it on. So obviously this new, oh there you go. The new solder made it a little bit thicker. So yeah, I've repaired that, put that back together. So back to where we were. With that LED done, try and tidy the wires up so they're sort of within the groove. And then we want another sticky pad. And then that is going to stick over the LED. Like so, and that cabling. There you go, looks something like that. And then those 2 wires will come down through the bottom there. Okay, so once they're done, we're going to get the tab that we got in this issue, which was in the little bag, and another IP screw. The tab is going to go on the right hand side. The right hand side, the bigger hole. And then we're going to put an IP screw through the other side. And there we have the wires through. This looks a bit of a mess up here, but I think that should be okay once it's all together. Okie doke, so next I'm going to tidy up a little bit because we're going to need to get the frame up now. So I'm just going to move these screws out of the way. So yeah, hopefully your cables will be okay, because I fully understand that not everyone may not feel comfortable soldering, or you may not even have a soldering iron. I've got a gas one, so it's a little bit easier for me just to have one to hand on the go. Okay, so I'll turn this round. We're going to be working on the inside here. So you've got 2 holes up here, one there, and then you've got one there. You can just see the blue tail through them. What we're going to do is take the other LEDs, okay, 2 LEDs, and we're going to poke them through each of those holes. So that's 1, and 2. Okay, and then what we need to do is carefully flip this back round, and you'll see these LEDs here. And then we need to fold them back, and then using the last 2 adhesive strips, we need to secure these down. Now the picture shows that the base of the LED is just past the holes on the frame here, so that's where I'm going to position mine, and it's just telling us to stick them on like so. Not, you know, it doesn't have to be neat, because I believe that they're going to be secured in somewhere later on. It's just to keep them in place for now. Okay, and the same for the other side. Okay, so that's them stuck on. So that being done, we're going to then turn the body over again, and it wants us to move all these cables, including the one we've just fitted, back. Towards the front. So there we go. Something like that. The image does show these, the wires that come out from the doors are going through those 2 holes. I don't think there's going to be anything clipping them in, but I would recommend you keep them through there, because when we put this piece on, it might get the cable snagged. So what we're going to do now is take this roof panel, and pop this in. Okay, and then try and line that up. Okay, so for me, this isn't very easy. Something's getting caught. I'm wondering if it's the cabling for the LED. So we try that again. Okay, I think that's a fit. I've just spotted something else. Where's my screwdriver? Where the cables come down through the doors, there's 2 little, there's like a a gully for the cable to sit through. Just double check that those cables are in the little gullies before you fit this. There, I'm happy with that. That seems to fit fairly nice. Okay, the next job is to fit NM screws into all of the screws, the screw holes, and there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There should be 6 screws. Obviously these are going into metal, so I'm going to use some wash up liquid. This video feels like it's going on for ages. Okay, so you've got one here, and you need to flip the sun visors up. You've got one here, one in the middle, and one on the edge there. So that's one. Two. One in the middle, but it's not screwing in. So I need to check that. So I'm going to remove these again. It does fit. Okay, I'm not quite sure why that screw doesn't go in. I'm going to need a pair of pliers now to get that out. I think it might just be the hole, possibly. Okay. So these may be the problems that you face. Do you know what? I think this is the fiddliest part I've done on this model, you know. Okay, so let's try that again. I'll start with the middle hole and see. No, it's the actual thread. The thread's not gripping. So how am I going to fix that? I need possibly a longer screw. let me have a look for the screw. I wonder if this other one will fit. What's this one? This is a BM screw. Okay, I'm going to try with the BM screw and see if I get any joy with that. It just needs to grip because there's obviously going to be plenty of other screws holding this in, but I don't want it to sag in the middle. Okay, perfect. Right, I fixed that with a BM screw. I'm going to try the NM screws in the rest of them. So we're going to again lift the visors up because we need to get screws in. Under there. On this side. Okay, and then we've got 3 more at the back. So you've got one up here. One in the middle. And then one just up here. Okay, that's nice and solid now. I'm really happy with that. So as I say, I did have an issue using an NM screw in this hole here, and to fix that I've just used a BM screw. Same thread, just slightly longer, and it seemed to grip. It absolutely chewed. It just chewed the threads off these NM screws. So okay, the next step is to get some BM screws like what I just used. I'm going to bin those NM screws because they're no good. So these BM screws, again, they're going into metal, so I'm going to put some washed up liquid on one of them, and then we're going to hold these pillars in. That one is just spinning. That one's gone in fine. Let's try this one again. There you go, that one's gone in. Again, I used a different screw. That one was a bit naff. So I'm in the bin. New screw fixed that. So now all that's in place, eventually all these wires should just be hanging loose up here. And there we have it. Okay, so that was issue 87. That was very tricky, in my opinion. Had a few issues. Obviously the wire from the LED came undone, so I've soldered that back on, and I had an issue with the screw, the middle screw at the front there. So I've changed that from the NM screw to the BP screw. That seemed to work lovely. Now I thought I filmed it and I didn't. I forgot to push the button. I tested the LEDs that we fitted up to now, up to issue 87, the interior ones. Everything works because I wanted to make sure the solder joint worked. However, every single LED was white. The two on the top that we poked through the holes, they were white. All the control panels, white. So I'm not quite sure what this is about. It says the LED light has been made yellow instead of blue. And it says, we've created this in time and you'll find the correct blue LED light in this delivery. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's about. I mean, I say they're white, they could be yellow, just a very pale yellow. So I think I've still got an issue. So I'm going to contact them and find out. But no, until next week, take care. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you wish to buy me a coffee, there's a link in the description below. Take care.